the next talk is called 20 Years of Security Advisories, Past, Present and Future at the Dutch NCSC, and presented by Jacco. See, he brought his fans. And he says here he started IT security back in 2003 and wrote his first security advisory for the Dutch government a few days later. And he will tell us what he did in the last 22 years.
Thank you very much. That's loud. Thank you very much for your introduction. All right, so first off, a little disclaimer. This is my own presentation. This is, if there's any opinion in there, it's mine and not that as the NCSC. All right, I'm going to talk about a bit about me, NCC, and advisories. I'm going to talk about how many CVs are there, how many vulnerabilities are there, what the issue is, what tools we used over the past 23 years, and where we're going to heading to in the coming years. So first off, me. Like everybody, probably here in the room, I started tinkering with computers early. This is me, 12 years old. I had some other pictures that were older, but well, my brother was also in there, and that was a bit awkward. So I started out in IT just before Y2K, so my first assignments were that. Then I did some Beowulf cluster installation work. And then somehow I decided it was a good idea to do security at government. So I joined NCSC. I did that 3 times already, and other security stuff in between. The NCC, the slogan is translated, working on the cybersecure Netherlands. I think that mostly covers it. The NCC started out in 2002. It was then called CERT-RO. RO is Rijksoverheid, central government. And we started with a project organization. Nobody knew if this was really going to be something towards the future. And after half a year, there was some disagreement with Romania. They thought RO was their abbreviation. So after half a year, we renamed govcert.nl. That's about that. And then 3 years later, 2006, it became obvious that a cert was something that we needed to have, was there to stay. And then we became part of the Ministry of Interior. And still 6 years later, 2012, we went to Ministry of Justice, renamed NCSC as we're currently named. And over the whole time, there was a big growth of everything. So we started out with 12 constituents, the 12 major ministries within the central government, and also with 12 people. We had a small office, Scheveningen, and when you walked through the door, on the right there were 6 desks of the techies, and on the left were 6 desks of what I affectionately call overhead. And from there to today, we now 450 colleagues. We have some 1,000 constituents. I lost count. It's still growing. It's going to be tens of thousands soonish due to NIS2 legislation. So, third part of the introduction, advisories. Advisories is the oldest thing that NCC ever did. So actually the first advisory we wrote before the official starting date of CERT-RO. We get much feedback from people, good, but also about our spelling and about other things we do wrong, all good. And so this really is a service that we know people really use, really like, really do something with. And at the end of 2024, we wrote a little over 30,000 total advisories and their updates. There's one item I want to pick out special, that's the Log4j advisory, that really took some effort because it was really, really unclear which software was affected, We put up a GitHub page to track that all. And whenever I talk to constituents, that's the one they all remember. So I've been saying advisory quite a lot. What is an advisory? This is my first advisory. So this is 2003. Apparently, I was only allowed to do updates. I don't know anymore. It's basically a header with which vulnerabilities are in there, a title somewhere down below, because I thought the letters would get too small. Is something about a description, what it is about, a remediation, links to other things. So in total, it's a story. There's a vulnerability. It's so important, and this is what you should do about it. So now we go to the part where we tell a bit about vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities, I think you can have a quite broad definition of what a vulnerability is. For now, I'm going to do it very, very simple. If it's a vulnerability, if it's got a CVE number, and the other way around as well. So there's a group in America that uniquely names each and every, of uniquely numbers each and every vulnerability. They've been doing that since 1999. That's also why it doesn't go back further. And when I did the research for this, I found that there was also some rejected items, and somewhere around here, there were many, many rejected items. I don't know what went on there. So if anybody knows, please tell me. I am not sure why so many of these items were rejected at that time. Same slide, same line for CVEs. I forgot to tell. The CVE numbers, you can see the growth over time, right? If you do an exponential curve to it, it fits quite nicely. So it's going up and up and up. For next year, I expect 50,000 or so. Year beyond will be more even. The green line here is the number of advisories, the number of vulnerabilities that we wrote an advisory for. So you can see us slightly going up until 2020, and from there it goes down a bit, not that much, but a bit. And this is the number of advisories we wrote over time. And here you see a little different patterns. So it's going up and up and up until 2015. There it's going flat until 21, and then it's going down a bit. And you can, what I read in here is that we, at some point, there stopped with updates, or not stopped with them. We wrote more generic advisories that needed less updates. There were many updates. Linux vendor, something else, also had an update, and we just did away with those. And I also think this slide and the one before shows that we now write advisories with more CVEs in them. So we cover about the same amount of vulnerabilities in less advisories. And while I was looking at all this, I decided to do some statistics. So this is what I said. The first one is in May 2002. In 2014, there was an OpenSSL issue. 2014 was also the year that Heartbleed was there. This was not the Heartbleed one, but apparently it was worth writing 37 updates. So somebody has been really, really busy tracking each and every update for that issue. In 2012, we had one that was really, really long. There were about 800 different models of HP routers and Tricom routers in there. Apparently, that was important at the time. In 21, there was one that had 550 CVs in there, which is, I don't know who tracked it, but it must be a lot of work to just comprehend what's going on over there. In 2017, there was 24 new advisories been out, new things in one day. I guess my colleagues in the room will know what day of the week that was. And the last one is, to my surprise, also we wrote advisories about stuff out of 99. And even until 21, there was some relevant stuff about 99 to write about. It surprised me. I never knew. Tools used. So we started out with almost nothing. So we had Website Watcher and a mail template. Website Watcher is a tool where you scrape a list of websites and then do it again. And if you do it again, it will show you the differences. That's all. And so you had one operator who would do that every other hour for a week and just keep track of it, do it in his head, remember what's going on, and if needed, write an advisory with a template. It worked. It was really difficult to hand over to somebody else. It was really difficult to ask somebody else to write something for you. You were the guy, you were going to do it. Next one is 2005. We wrote a little tool. Actually, this is a screenshot because I still have my homegrown code for that in my personal version control. That's what you get when you write stuff at home. Basically, it was just a shared spreadsheet. So you could drop in the things you were working on or thinking about, and from there on, other people could look at it and amend it, and you could work together. You could ask somebody, will you write this for me? And there was a bit more working together and a bit more keeping track of stuff, a bit more looking back. Why didn't we write for this? What was the work then? That kind of stuff. 2005 also, I guess, is the matrix. We had a lot of discussion about how important is this advisory. Is this a medium? Is this a high? And there were a lot of discussions over there, always. And we always came to a conclusion. It came also all fine, but discussion takes time. And at some point, we decided to find our discussion points, make a little questionnaire out of that, gave some arbitrary weights to these things, and there came a verdict out of it. And we found, oh, this is working quite nice. That was the matrix. Real cool, real worked. But we also always said, these are arbitrary weights. If a human thinks the outcome is not good, the human is right. From there on, in 2006, I guess, there was an advisory writing tool. So now you could have more of a templated work. It would automatically sign advisories. The numbering would be automatic. The date would be good. You could trust the date. There was a 4 eyes publishing cycle. So you would write something, another one would say this is good, and then you could publish and not earlier. I really like that tool. It should have, I can't recall what the name was. Then, 2008, we got Taranis. Taranis also automated the website watchers part. So now there was a central place where the scraping took part. You could, with multiple colleagues, work on that. And now most of the things we did were sort of automated. The picture here is from a slide deck I found, a training slide deck. So this was also a tool that we gave away for other people to work with, and we gave trainings. Taranis is in our mind God of knowledge. This is a picture from the same slide deck. What you can see here is the whole cycle we did with data collection, assessing, and so on, until publishing. Could all be done in that tool. Much less error prone, better working together with more people. Cool. Last slide from the same old slide deck. Apparently it took 1,000 items to review to get to one advisory. And these are one of the noteworthy things about that time. We open sourced a lot, we opened up a lot. Everything we wrote as an advisory is available in Advisories NCCNL. You can still find everything back from 2013. We open sourced it. You can still find it on GitHub. I think the main developer is on the camp actually this week, I guess. We automated a bit. We made an XML standard and GDPR. So the name of the author went out of the advisory. Then, a bit later, End of 21, we found that the amount of vulnerabilities was so much higher that it was just not doable to collect all that data and think about it. It should be better. And we started out collecting data and normalizing it, putting it in our own data format, building it on top of standards. And the fun thing was that we made a data set that was also valuable on its own. So it's not the advisories that we were working towards, but also the set of data that we collect just to write the advisories is valuable itself. We opened it up. It's available on vulnerabilities.ncc.nl. Then about this. Taranis had many sources. They tell me it was 1,500 at its peak time. We have much less, but we understand it better, we normalize it better, it works. The story about news sites is, if a news source writes something about a vulnerability, we want to know, because that's probably our constituents will also ask us about it, and that's just important. Apparently this one is more important than others. And we publish everything we can as quickly as we can in CSAR format on our website. And last but not least, we score everything. So everything gets an automated score, which we use later on in thresholding. So everything above a threshold is being looked at by a human. Everything below is not. And now we can operate it with much less people. And the last thing is also quite interesting. We started out calling our constituents if there was a real critical advisory. That was good practice when there were 12 constituents. With 200, it was a little difficult. We now automated it. 2025, I can't do without a slide about AI. We use AI for a couple of things. Sometimes when the scraping is difficult, we ask AI, please, this is the source, this is our formatting, please do that in our formatting and give it back to me. Works good, it's really good. We always get multiple descriptions from multiple vendors about the same item, and we ask the thing, please make a summary of it, works also good. And then when we go to the writing process, we also do ask AI to give an example of the text that we should write in Dutch, and it also works very good. And we get much less complaints about spelling errors. And last but not least, the scoring. It's a machine learning model. We trained it on when in the past we've written advisories, and it works really good for us. Things we stopped doing. The matrix has been retired. It is outdated. It worked good for a 2005 style company with a strong edge around it, a strong boundary around it, not permeable. As IT works today with cloud and SaaS and people on the road, and the questionnaire doesn't work anymore. And we're going to make it, it doesn't work for everybody. So we're going to make it easier. We're just going to going towards just normal and high, and we can do that on gut feeling again, we guess. And what I also say over there is that some of these standards also hold the same questions as we have in as we had in the matrix. And the other thing is, we always ask our constituents, please tell me about your software you have, your hardware you have, so that we know what to write about, so that we know what to send you, which advisory to send you. That data was always outdated. We stopped that. Future. My herald is telling me to go on, so I will. We are going to drop text and XML formats. So for human readable, it's going to be PDF. For machine-to-machine, it's going to be CSAF. It's much better standard than our own XML implementation. Likelihood and impact that we had for 23 years doing away with it. It's going to be priority, it's going to be normal, it's going to be high. That's about the two we have. And we're going to drive for automation. So this whole thing that I've been describing is about telling things to people that can do things, and we must automate more. And as we automate more, we should write less advisories. So this is a bit of a shift. We always said, we will write everything for you. In the future, we won't. Just normal stuff. Vendor says it's broken. It has a fix, just implement the fix. We're going to be writing less and less, obviously together with my constituents, because it takes two to tango. And automation. And this is the one slide about automation. We should automate everything. So we should automate the list of hardware and software that you have, make your SBOMs, put it all together, put it next to each other, automate collection of vulnerability data, use our source preferably, and from there on, make the matching. And there should be a list of all the vulnerabilities that you have. Use A scoring, R scoring, somebody else's, I don't care, to prioritize, and they have got a prioritized list to work on. That should be the goal. We're working on this, but we've got still some challenges for this. And the first is the most difficult. There's not one thing that uniquely defines a vendor, a product, and its version. This is going to be a real challenge. We're hoping to be in the good direction. This one is also quite interesting. Depending on the vendor, 11 is after or before 2. It's so if it's fixed at some version and you're at something else, are you good or are you not? It's a difficult challenge. We have our German colleagues at BSI are working on this. They have got a tender out for people to work on this. So they're making quite good progress. I'm hoping that we get this right. And we also see that we got sometimes data in from one source that differs to the other one, and there's some data quality issues that also need working on. Ja, eerst Chris. Ja, hier.
Thank you. There's a mic over here.
Thanks for sharing your insights with the community. So there's some challenges with the SBOM, which I believe is also there for us to help us out in the future. What would you think would be the best next steps to have SBOM implemented?
All right, so currently we're doing that automation. I didn't tell you yet, but that automation, we have a project together with TNO to try to make it actionable, with a couple of constituents, try to make those SBOMs, get them in a central place, get them next to vulnerability data, and see what happens. So I hope at the end of the year that we have a better view of the issues, and then next year we'll grow from there. It's unknown territory. There's no better answer to that than this.
Sounds like a good first step. Thanks.
Yeah, I had a small question about AI summaries.
Yes.
Has it already made mistakes, or do you like still check what it puts out? Because I can understand why you would use it if there are like from different vendor things, but
we don't share the summaries that much outside. So if there's a mistake in there, it's not that bad. It's only our own internal customers looking at it. And they haven't reported big issues. And the other thing, the texts for the advisories that it writes is all read by a human before it goes out.
I really appreciated that the first software is open source, and hearing about that. And I've tried to work with SBOM, and there's a huge tooling gap. So I'm curious, will your newer software also be open source?
There's a couple of things to that. So my chief says yes, open source everything. But we've made quite a difficult setup, and it's not currently in a state that I can point somebody, here's the source, go fix it, it will work for you. It's quite a complicated setup, quite tailored to our own environment, so it will need work. And currently we don't have the time for that work. So unless my chief says, go fix, it's not on my to-do list right now.
Yeah, fair. But I think people would be happy if you give that feedback, that people would appreciate these tools for working with SBOMs and with vulnerability data.
Oh, that part. Sorry. The matching part.
Yeah, but the whole thing for me, but the matching part would be very interesting, yeah.
All right. So the matching part, sorry, I mixed up. The matching part is interesting, so that's, for now we chose Dependency Track, which is an open source tool from Oasis. So the guys from Germany made an addition to it to be able to ingest CSAF, so our data is seamlessly able to be ingested into that, but they're still working on the matching engine. And SBOMs is a bit out of my jurisdiction. You should make them your own and upload in Dependency Track. Drop by later, I'll give you some hints where to look for code.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the talk. I think the CSAF stuff you do, you should use a different PGP key instead of the public key, because it also still uses the 2024 key now of the NCC. Another thing, if you have the perfect SBOM, I used to work for the election council, you get like, I don't know, at least 750 CVEs or something. You get so many hits, it's really hard to actually do something with it. Even if you're a security professional, you need to go through everything. Or maybe you can do AI something, but I wouldn't trust that for election stuff. So I wonder, if you have the perfect SBOM, you end up with such a cluster fuck of CVEs. How do you solve that? What's your idea there?
So from the 4 points, the last one was prioritize.
How?
So I know the issue. I know there's going to be many. And that's basically, there's also data quality, because there are things in there which says, from this software, all versions are vulnerable, which isn't true, but it's in some data sets. But I think prioritize and start at the top. It's or maybe just set a threshold. If it's below 50%, I know you can't do it all. It's fair point.
Okay, thanks again, Jacco.